what insights and advice do you have for businesses at this time?
Hi, I'm Eric Lee Smith. I'm a game designer and serial entrepreneur. I started my first business when I was still in high school. Had my first office right after high school. Didn't go off to college until I was 21 years old. I've been involved in startups that have raised tens of millions of dollars and have sold to Fortune 500 companies. I've been doing this for 40 years, and I know a lot about several things. Product management, new product development specifically, but also high tech. I've worked in software development most of my career. Financial services, new product development is an odd specialty I have. Simulation design, simulation game design, things like that. Got a lot of experience in a lot of ways. I've raised a lot of money. I've been in front of venture capitalists and raised money from them and angels and individuals and all that. So I'm happy to be an advisor to you. My knowledge is wide and surprisingly deep and has some unusual areas of expertise. So yeah, we're in an unusual time, and I'm going to give you some advice. So if you're still in the concept development stage, you're a student and all that, basically what's happening, a lot of people are wondering why the stock market is rebounding. Well, the stock market always looks 6 months, 8 months ahead. So they're already in the post-virus stage. People that fund companies are also already getting there in their minds, and they're already beginning to look at what the new world looks like. So this is neither bad news nor good news for you. It's just news. I guess the main thing that I would say about it is you need to be aware of all this stuff, but don't over-focus on things that are outside your control. You need to focus on the things that are in your control and adjust how you approach the market based upon new evidence. So, there's a lot of people out there that are going to make a ton of money buying up companies that have gotten into trouble and have fallen behind on their marketing plans and are no longer seen as the stellar startups that they were once considered, or even the operational companies that they were once considered. So that's vulture capitalism that's going to be doing a lot over the next year. You don't need to worry about that too much unless you have a business. Your objective is to get through this period. And like all change is always good for entrepreneurs. Sudden change can be especially good for entrepreneurs. I started my career when a thing called a microcomputer came out, and I had my first one in 1980, 3 years before the IBM PC. And me and a few 100,000 guys in this country thought it was the biggest deal we'd ever seen in our lives. We were wrong, but we thought it was. And it was huge, and it had major disruptive effects on the world and the economy. We don't know what's going to happen going forward from this debacle we're in now, but there are certain things that are never going to be the same. I believe that the real estate industry, for example, is going to be radically altered, that the days of big skyscrapers are probably over, and that remote work is now going to be, very normal. So, there's a lot of change, and in your business and what you're planning on doing, you can analyze it with a lens of that change. You can say, okay, so what does it mean now that distance learning and distance meetings and distance conference calls like this are the norm? What does it mean when people are much more comfortable investing and buying without ever meeting somebody face to face? What does it mean when we truly are a global, institution? Planet Earth is truly global. We've always said that was true, but now it's really, really true. And it's going to get more global from here. In spite of our national government's resistance to that, it's not driven by national governments anymore. It's driven by individuals and the internet and this web of electronic information that exists all around us. So, specific strategies that you can do. Well, I think depends completely on what stage of development you're in. If you're still in the concept development stage, then it's fairly simple. You just have to take some of these broad issues that are now clear and look at your business from angles that make maximum use of those and say, okay, what do I tweak now that I may never meet my customer face to face? What does that mean? If you're doing institutional sales, for example, you have a software or a product that is sold to big companies that normally had a long sales cycle and face to face, that may be radically altered. It'll almost certainly be altered to a degree, and you can take advantage of that. So, what strategies? I mean, if I had a deep insight into all this, and I have some insight into it, I don't know if I have deep insight into it or not. But if I did, I would be working on prototypes, and not deep prototypes, not expensive prototypes, more like visual simulations done with PowerPoint and other tools of that sort to begin speculating on how the world has changed and showing them to people and showing them to advisors that I care about, and whose advice I trust, and getting their feedback and iterate on what these changes could mean as rapidly as possible. If I had a business that was in operation, the main objective right now is sheer survival. And it means looking very closely at every dollar that you're spending, especially the dollars that are on the edge, on the bubble of being truly necessary. And that could end up being your own salary. It could end up being, do I have to pay myself as much as I am? Do I have to have my partner getting paid? Do I have to have this office? Do I, what all do you actually need? And this is always a good attitude to have as an entrepreneur, to be very cheap and very cost conscious. But times like now, it's good to be radically focused on that, because survival is the first objective. You've got to get through this period. And by the way, your investors are already getting through it. So you can take some comfort in the fact that long-term investors are already seeing past this. It's counterintuitive, but it's true. So what resources are there out there? Well, New Mexico has quite a bit, actually. I'm not going to go through all the different institutions and places that are here. Your program should teach you all those and more that I'm not even familiar with. I've only lived here for 2 years. So I would say that the online world has, because of this forced, I don't know how you can call it, this shutting down of our outside life has meant that an online life has blossomed in a big way. And so you need to embrace that and see and explore the places on the internet and other places online where, Facebook and all the other social media, Instagram, etc., where clusters of your industry are chatting and sharing information, and make use of those. Take notes and take action. Be willing to share what you're learning too, and be generous with that, because we're all in this together. This is the first event in my lifetime that's ever been everybody in it together, as a nation, as a world. This is a unique thing. So sharing in an attitude of gratitude and sharing will really help. I think that in my experience, I'll give you an example. So back in the 1980s, which is dark ages ago, I know, finding advice and people that could help you was almost impossible. The venture capital industry barely existed. The angel investing community barely existed. It was extremely difficult to find advisors that had started businesses and taken them through their life cycle. So information and advice was extremely hard to come by, and was very treasured as a result. I was fortunate to work with some startup that had, board of directors and board of advisor members who were very generous and very knowledgeable, and they helped our company grow and gave us advice we could use. Today, it's very different than that. It's almost like you have so much information that you have to learn to weed through it and find out what is really applicable. So that's where you are. And again, I tend to look at things from the product forward and saying, how can I make what it is I'm building seem visible and seem understandable to an early audience. Now, this is not quite the lean startup methodology where you try to get the, minimal viable product launched. It's sort of a step before that, where it's more the vision part of it needs to be really thought through and shown in a way that is compelling enough to get somebody interested enough to say, okay, well, let's go build a minimal viable product. But the viable part, I think, is a little bit of a problem. I think it should be a minimal good product. That is, viable is such a low threshold that it may not be enough to interest investors at this stage. So, and other people that you want to join your company, be they employees or backers or what have you. So, what does it mean to be a good product, and how can you show where it's going to be and what stage it's going to be there? That's really, really crucial, even more so now than it used to be. In my experience, putting together those visionware documents is extremely valuable. One of my startups I raised over $15 million behind me, and that was based on a station of a product that was about 150 slides, but the slides were designed in such a way that they appeared to be running software and drop-down menus, and and it had multiple pass-through, and it had simulation of software, and then every once in a while, every so often, it would have a slide which would summarize what they'd seen and so forth. And it took the better part of 3 months to create that visionware. But that visionware allowed me and my team to go out and raise money and to crystallize what it was we were planning to build to such a degree that investors could understand it, say, yes, that's a big idea, that will work, and back us. So those are some ideas. I will say this, I'm listed as a resource on the site there in front of you, and it's under game design and new product development. But I have experience in all those other areas, so consider me a broad advisor for entrepreneurial activities, and I'm happy to give you my advice and my counsel as best I can. For final thoughts, I would say this too shall pass. It seems endless, but it's not. Some people are already thinking past it. You should be too. You're an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurs surf the winds of change, the seas of change. So that's what you are. You're a surfer, and there's a lot of big changes here. Get a handle on them, understand what they are, build them into your product or service, and move forward. That's where we are, and that's what you need to do. Thank you for your time. Drop me a note.
This video was brought to you by the New Mexico Economic Development Department, Office of Science and Technology. Discover more resources to support your business at arrowheadcenter.nmsu.edu.